This is A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. It's the 1st of February. Pinch punch, 1st of the month, boys. Got you. 1st of February, 2020. We do that in our house all the time. Does nobody else do that? No. My missus gets so annoyed when I get her first. Brilliant. Anyway,
must be a West Belfast thing.
It must be. It's the 1st of February 2022. My name's Patrick Smith. Belfast Giants come back off a mixed road trip with aplomb, 2 wins over the Coventry Blaze at the SSE Arena, and we're going to cover all of that on this week's show. We've got those 2 games that we're going to have a look through. We've got interviews down at training that says pop down to have a word with a couple of lads. Tyler Beskorowany is our guest on the fan agenda. We have some news. We have the nominations for January's Player of the Month, and some team from South Wales are in town next weekend. We might have a passing discussion about that. And also, there's an extension to the league, but we'll go through that in the news later in the show. Mr. Majimsey, just been chomping on a raw carrot. How are you?
Wild.
Joel said this, but I wasn't sure what other way you would eat it.
Chopped
I'm
and boiled.
all right. I haven't had boiled carrots. I haven't had the best of weeks. I found my first grey hair, and I'm
What?
devastated.
What?
Devastated.
How long have you been colorblind? Ultimate spin zone here.
Not on your head, on the floor. Somebody else's grey hair, was it?
It was definitely on my head. Mate. Once you start finding them elsewhere, it's time to call it a day.
Did you
I
put
know
a
a man
up in the house?
Listen, Davy, I know a man who knows where you can get a good dye job. I say a good dye job. He once turned up with jet black hair.
Any guesses?
Oh, I thought you were going to direct me towards 89 hairdos or whatever.
No, well, I could do that, but no, I was thinking about a man who got a really bad dye job and turned up to a gig once with he looked like Danny Zuko.
he's embraced the
turned
summer.
But yeah, so hasn't been the best of weeks, but sure, we'll play on.
I feel for you, mate. Mr. Kitchen, you were back behind the mic at the weekend after a few weeks off. How you doing?
I'm all right. It was good crack. Obviously, we're going to go and talk about the games, but yeah, it was good fun. I mean, good. I thought Goody came on for the first time to join me. I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah.
And
did he swear, Kitchy?
No, he didn't. No, he was all right.
He was just he was almost as as the Dundee Stars guys. Brilliant, by the way. It wasn't. I'm not taking a mickey because it gave the level of enthusiasm and how much he actually he was out on the ice as much as he was in the Coventry box. But the and the that was brilliant. Loved it. Yeah, they really, really enjoyed it.
And then Dicko and Sunday, I always really enjoyed doing the games with Dicko. He's class.
We've said it many times, mate. Great quality from Dicko is what you get there, and I really enjoyed that one.
He hates it. He hates.
I know.
He doesn't think he's any good at all. So
he's wrong.
I think he's the second best colour man in the league.
After Paul Eddie.
The stony silence.
After the grey guy in the corner.
Paul Eddie. Yeah.
And a man who has had a busy week up at Larne. How are you doing, Joel?
Yeah, all good. Transfer window closed last night. It was a bit of a stressful evening, but we're all good, and I'm ready to talk hockey with the boys. Best part of the week.
That's it. Well, then let's get stuck into it, lads. It was 2 home games against the Coventry Blaze at the weekend. Let's have a look at that first one. It was like I say, the Giants came back with a bit of aplomb and none less than the 6-1 victory for your Giants over the Coventry Blaze. The goals coming from Slater Doggett, Jordan Boucher, Mark Cooper with his first on 1857, JJ Pickenich short-handed, the second short-handed goal of the game. The first one was that Jordan Boucher goal. And then Cooper on 44 minutes and Cooper again on 47 minutes on the power play. Made it 6 for the Giants. The only goal for the Coventry Blaze coming from Evan Bloodoff. In goal for the Belfast Giants, Tyler Beskorowany, 21 shots on, 1 goal against. And in goals for the Coventry Blaze, CJ Mott only lasted 44 minutes, 28 shots against, 5 goals against. And then Jordan Headley came in for the last 15 minutes or so. It was 10 shots on, 1 goal against. Your referees that night were Andy Dalton and David Good. That's a new one on me. David Good.
Yeah, first time I've seen him.
First time seen him certainly in Belfast. Davy, Giants came in 6-1 and were dominant. Blaze, however, not great.
I think it's probably fair to say, I know he got whipped out after 44 minutes. Without CJ Mott in that first period, you're looking at 16-1 here. This is CJ Mott had an incredible period. I think that from the instant, Giants had something like 27 grade A chances in the first period alone. and bar a bit of execution, we were good at times, and bar a bit of execution, that game was dead. Well, the game was over after 20 minutes, but this was all over bar the shouting after 20 minutes. But, CJ Mott, I know he comes up with an absolutely wonderful save, but you're going to play the goals there, Paddy, and who got the first goal? Really, really nice goal, because I think it's just the videos froze here, and it's threw me a curveball here. Hang on 1 second. Yes, Doggett from good. I can't remember the goal now. But anyway, that started off I can't remember the goal. Paddy's, we've done this again. Did this last week.
Portion of the show where Paddy disappears and it all goes to
We
hell.
need a sponsor, because Paddy's computer just can't handle two things at once. So if you're out there and you've got a business, you could sponsor Paddy a decent MacBook Pro or something where he can actually load video at the same time. There, he's back. Video too big, Paddy?
Video's too big.
Yeah, I thought that this week. I couldn't score too many goals.
That's it.
Exponentially bigger. Exponential, there's a word we haven't used for almost 2 years now. That was trendy 2 years ago when COVID was starting. But look, as I say, CJ Mott, Simon will go on to talk about one particularly big save he makes, but for CJ Mott, that game is over by a shout. And I want to come back. I'll let Sis go on, because I want to come back about the Mark Cooper hat trick.
Well, Sis, do you want to go on? Sis, you want to talk about the game?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, we absolutely dominated. You'd mentioned it at the top of the intro there for Davy to come in. Once we got the second goal, I honestly didn't think we looked back at all. I thought we were really strong in all areas. I think we were a wee bit disappointed to give up that goal. Besco again wasn't overworked for it, and obviously that's why he got to start the next day as well. But when we're moving our feet, there's not very many teams in this league can keep up with us. And we were doing that on Saturday night. We were relentless. CJ Mott played really well. And as Davy says, I think it probably could have been, 7, 8, 9, 10 before he was getting anywhere near getting pulled. But don't forget, this is their second in 2 nights, because they played Guildford the night before. Guildford took them to overtime and then obviously went to a shootout as well. And that does play a big factor in this as well, because they were going to 3-3, and it's always tough playing 3-3, especially when you're traveling. I'm not making massive excuses for him. I listened to the interview from Danny Stewart after the game. He was livid with their effort, their application, everything about it. He didn't see anything positive about it at all. But overall, we definitely deserve to win the game. There's that first goal coming up now, Davy. Again, Doggett just turning back into traffic. There's 2 guys within 6 feet of him, and neither of them gets a stick on him. So when you've got that lack of effort from the Blaze players to a certain extent, but the big one that stood out for me was Bush's short-handed goal. If you watch the video, and it'll come up here in a second, hopefully, the effort that Bush has got the puck in our bottom corner, in our defensive zone. He lays the pass up to Coops, who has a bit of pressure from the backside, and he makes a really smart play. He knows he's not going to get the shot on goal, so he goes down below the goal line, swings it round, gets his head up, and then Bush, as I say, this is the second goal again coming in, but turns around. Look at Bush. There's 3 guys trailing him, and that third guy coming into the zone, Curran, was the one closest to him when he passed the puck at the bottom end. So there's not many players can keep up with Bush, but you'd like to think they're going to make an effort. These guys are professionals, and as I say, Danny Stewart was not happy after that game, and rightly so, because they just did not turn up for it. And obviously, from the comments that he made on Saturday night, that made a bit of impact on the Sunday game, because I thought on Sunday they came out to play very, very well.
Yeah, we'll come back on the Sunday game. David, you want to talk about that Cooper hat trick?
Well, it kind of starts, I think, from the next goal here, and a lot of underrated work done. Again, he's been outstanding in January, but a lot of underrated work done in this whole goal, 2 or 3 times by Ben Lake. Doesn't end up getting an assist on the goal, but if you watch some of the plays that he has to make, the one keeps the puck alive a couple of times, and then as it looks like it's going out of the zone, he breaks it up again. They'll allow, I think it's Doggett, just to keep it in on the line, and swings around, and then just that lovely pass across. There's Doggett taking it, and Cooper just busting for that back post. But we'll talk about that, Cooper, and Simon talked about Coops staying behind. A lot of extra practice last week. Wasn't particularly happy with his game. Working on lots of things with Keefe, and as I talked to Simon yesterday, Dicko as well. Dicko stayed after practice a few times this week just to let him have extra shooting. And, you got to give the likes of Dicko massive credit. Doesn't get an awful lot of ice time. Hasn't played a game this season. what is he, 10, 11 years with the club, 30 odd games, but he's there. He's there at training, and he's there to give these guys extra time. So big assist on all 3 goals to take out the weekend. Mark Cooper's had a fabulous January, and he's just going the right places. We talked about him through like mid-November, I would say, onwards, maybe slightly earlier than that, where he started to be that go-to guy. He's the guy on all the power plays that's got his backside in the blue paint, and that kind of became his role. Bit of a breakout there for me at the weekend there with him getting a hat trick. Really, really lovely to see. And Goody on Coventry saying, let's see those hats. Absolutely fantastic. And yes, a few of them rained down. But like 2 short-handed goals, first time it's happened since I think 2014, says, was it told you the guys sent it?
Yeah.
Keefe and Lloyd, believe it or not, were the last 2. Lovely, lovely play. And as you say, when they got to this position, you just know he shows shot, just pass across, and Pick does not miss those. Doesn't matter,
Beautiful.
all day long, he's going to be scoring now. So, from a Giants perspective, it was a fairly routine win.
2 short-handed goals and a power play goal, Joel.
Yeah, this was probably one of the main headlines of the weekend for me. It was actually really nice to hear Adam Keefe in post-game on Sunday talk about just how, he acknowledged that power play hasn't really been firing on all cylinders. And it's probably, I would say, in what has been a fairly good season so far, the main grumble of the fan base that, the power play was struggling for. I've grumbled about it on this very show. We're not only struggling for grade A chances in the power play, but we're struggling to establish ourselves in the zone and keep the puck consistently in there. To not only get the 2 shorties, but also for Mark Cooper's hat-trick goal to be on the power play as well. And also Dylan Eistad took a tripping call about 5 minutes into the second period. And that, honestly, the power play 5 minutes into that second period, if you go back and watch it, it's one of the best power plays I've seen from the Giants that we haven't actually scored on. So it looks to me like that special teams are beginning to develop. The power play is beginning to develop. But not only that, to be able to really put the work in whenever you're a man short and to come up with those 2 shorties, it just shows that those areas are being addressed within the club, not only from the coach who acknowledged it, but from the players who are now producing on ice.
Says we'll come on to Sunday's game in just a second, but obviously coming off the back of a mixed weekend the weekend before with the 2 defeats before the victory in Guildford, how important was it to get a result like that to sort of energize the fan base?
Again, it's always good, and that, you know what, the fan base were brilliant on Saturday night, I have to say that, and that's from the whole arena. There was a big crowd in. My understanding was the Saturday game was the biggest crowd we've had of the season so far. It wouldn't have been with the 2 Christmas games, obviously the 3 Christmas games being cancelled, but Saturdays was the biggest crowd we've had in, which is great, because January's a tough month to get people through, and obviously with it being pay weekend and maybe even people just getting out of the house and coming down, which hopefully they do this weekend for the Cardiff game as well. But it's Paddy, we just talk on how good the team can be when we get going. We win 13 games in a row, and there's a couple of fans grumbling about getting beat by Glasgow and Cardiff. There's nothing to be ashamed about getting beat by Cardiff. With regards to going into Glasgow, they were starting to pick up. They'd won 4 in a row. They're starting to play well. I think their coach has got the right idea. He seems to be, he sort of seems to know how to push their buttons, because he made a comment again, I think it was a couple of nights before that, or maybe 2 or 3 games before that obviously get under a few of their skin, because they came out and played really well. I was at the game, and I thought they did really, really well. They came to us on the 3rd period, put pressure on it. But, you want to win those games. Of course you want to win those games and make it 14 in a row. But it's not as easy as just turning up and thinking that's the case. That is not the way hockey works. There's every team in this league can beat any other team on any given night. Take out Fife. They're having a bit of a horrendous season. But, the likelihood is, we're going to go into, so we've got Cardiff this weekend, obviously. And then next week, we've got Coventry on the Wednesday. Mm-hmm. We've got Dundee on the Friday, Dundee away on the Saturday, and Fife away on the Sunday. So we have 4 games in 5 days. Yep. And you're going to have fans going about, because, do you know what? If we pick up 8 points from that whole week, or that for those 4 games, that's probably the best week you're going to have all season. But it's going to be very, very difficult, because it's tough to go into Dundee. They beat Sheffield last week. It's tough to go into Fife. We found that out a couple of weeks ago. If they turn up and they get their guys turning up, they can play. And Shane Owen, we know Shane Owen's capable of putting out a good game against us as well. So
3-3 is tough at any time, mate.
3 and 3 is tough. 4 and 5 is even tougher.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot of travel. As I all they're all away games. So, traveling the car or Coventry, then they're going straight up to Scotland. They'll get a day off in between the Coventry and first Dundee game. But it's going to be absolutely tough. But again, that's at the back of Adam's mind. It's all about this weekend, and obviously the Cardiff Devils coming in on Friday.
That's right.
Paddy, sorry, who was it we spoke to recently? Was it on the show or was it maybe in a post game where we were talking about the difference between obviously the league format here and the playoff format that most players would have found in North America and throughout Europe? And they had said on those kinds of road swings, whenever you're out on the road for 3 or maybe 4 in a week, that it's kind of almost like an unwritten rule in hockey that if you drop the last one, nobody's really that bothered, because obviously the playoff format, it's just interesting, that it's the format of our season, meaning that 4 games in a week, every single one of them is a playoff game. And you wouldn't really get that, I guess, in any other league.
No. Let's look at Sunday's game, boys. It was like with a 6-1 win for the Giants on the Saturday. We went to face the same people on the Sunday, and it cost not just the Coventry Blaze but Joel Neal. It was a 3-0 win for the Belfast Giants. The goals from the Giants coming from Soy, Picanich, and Lake, and it was a shutout. So the Coventry Blaze scored nothing. It was a 27-save shutout that cost Joel Neal money to the Rainmaker.
Delighted. Happy to do it.
How's that house coming? And CJ Mott, 30 shots against, 2 goals against. And as I scroll this, because I'm doing this a bit differently this week, referees that night were Pavel Hallis and David Good. Says a very different Coventry Blaze team on the second night. Obviously, we didn't get the goals until what was it, near the end of midway through the game on the power play, and it was an empty net goal at the end. But the Coventry Blaze proved a much different opponent on Sunday than they did on Saturday.
CJ Mott,
yeah, he
was absolutely brilliant. I mean, we showed there was a couple of clips of it, and that save he pulled off in the first period against Goody. Now, I was speaking to Goody about this after the game, and I think it was lacking in the given, a bit of a hook from behind, and sort of knocked him off balance, and he didn't get the shot. He couldn't get the puck elevated. But there's some of the saves that he pulled off on the first, especially the first and second period. Third, he was under a lot of pressure. We played really, really well. But again, you knew you were going to get a response because of what the coach said the night before. I thought Coventry played very, very well on Sunday. I thought the application from the majority of their players was definitely there. I really like that guy, Halbert, Nathaniel Halbert. Really strong player, strong skating defenseman. Sorry about that, amateur error. Really strong skating defenseman, controls their power play, plays a lot of minutes. I'm not sure. I think he played about 26 or 27 minutes on Sunday. But CJ Mott was probably the story of the game for them. He was fantastic. It's not very often the way a goaltender gets man of the match, but he definitely stood up, and I probably want that one back against Picanich, and I know Davy's going to come back and talk about that later. But the way we played and our game management on Sunday was a lot. To be desired. Sorry, not to be a lot to be desired. It was definitely to be desired. I thought we controlled the game. Yes, they had opportunities. I think they had the post maybe 3 times, definitely 2, possibly 3. But once we got the first goal, you could see a little bit of deflation. But it's important to get the second one. And the second one was vital for us. Coming out with that one there from Picanich. And the face-off play, but I know Davy. I don't want to steal Davy's thunder here because he loves the set plays they got. But once we got the second goal, I don't think we're going to look back. And as I say, Davy will want to come in and talk about that second goal for sure.
I'll come to Davy in a second. Joel, Sam's absolutely right. Coming in with that first goal in the second period, that sort of started to change the game in the Giants' favour.
Yeah, 100% right. From sort of, I had the pleasure of tuning into Giants TV and says on Saturday for the first game. I was in the arena on Sunday, but the difference that I could see, in addition to Mott being fantastic, I think that they had set them up for that sort of, Danny Stewart had set them up for that kind of classic road game. There were points in that game where you were looking back at the Blaze blue line, and there's nearly enough, all 5 of their men just kind of hovering along it. And they set themselves up, I feel anyway, to frustrate straight and to try and find that kind of opportunity on the counter and to give Mott as much protection and help as possible. So for the Giants to continue grinding that down and finally finding that goal on the power play again, special teams continues to pay off this season, and by Davy's talisman, Tyler Soy, as well, to see him continue to do the business. It was a different kind of victory from the night before, but again, it was similar to maybe on the road in Guildford the other week, where the team sets up and you have to really grind against them for your opportunities, and you have to wait and work to find those opportunities, and the Giants did. So lovely to be able to switch our game up and to address a different Coventry Blaze less than kind of 24 hours from the first game.
Davy, obviously, Sis has teed you up on the discussion of the pick and edge goal, but before we come
Sorry,
to that,
Davy.
your take on the game.
Yeah, I think Adam said, the coach said after the game, we played a little bit more run and gun, and that obviously affects the energy levels in the game. Coventry Blaze came out a lot stronger, and just giving Mott that 15 minutes off maybe on the Saturday night to rest, rather than run him the 16 minutes into a 3-3, as Simon had said earlier there, just give him a little bit of extra spark, especially in that first period, because we did come hard enough. They boxed us out a wee bit more. We, I think on the Saturday night with 60, nearly 70 shots on off, and on the Sunday, I think it's down in the 40s. So in terms of getting to the net and getting shots on, especially from the blue line, we just didn't have that same. Saturday night we had a lot of shots. I think Kevin Rain maybe had 3 or 4 shots in about 3 or 4 shifts. I remember thinking you and Goody talking about it on no shots at all on Sunday night. So maybe that's just a little thing. Danny Stewart's been able to look at the game tape afterwards and go, we have to crack this. We've got to stop Rain getting shots in from the edge of the edge of the circles from the blue line. So, Blaze changed their set up ever so slightly, stopped us getting as many shots on. But, they hung in there, and being 1-0 up going into that, was it 1-0? Did we get the third? We got the last 2 goals in the third period. The first goal in the middle period. So it was 1-0 in the second. And I think maybe Dicko mentioned it as well, a bit like Blaze the other week where we mentioned the podcast. You let these teams hang around, one chance, one goal in these games, and all of a sudden the whole dynamic of the games change. So in terms of that, getting that second goal, Sis just mentioned it, crucial. That was massive for us getting that second, and then you fill the empty net, makes the scoreline a bit more lopsided. CJ Mott, outstanding. Some of the saves again. I thought he was great on Saturday night, certainly first 20 minutes. Sunday, exceptional, well-deserved man of the match. And at our own end, another shutout for Besco. I think that's 7. Many nights.
That's 7, mate. Yep. 7 times 10
quid for the Rain Razor. But I think over the course of January, and we'll come to Player of the Month later on, 11 goals conceded across the course of a month by Besco, and he's played the last share. I think he played all but 1 game. Jackson played the 1 game away in Glasgow, is that right?
Yeah,
yes.
Glasgow.
I don't think he played any other games. I think Besco played the rest of them. And Bar dropping the game in Cardiff last week, where you've got a short-handed goal against, a power play goal against, and a goal he could do nothing with, and an empty netter when he wasn't even on the ice. He's been almost perfect this month. He's such a calming influence at the back end there. Simon could wax lyrical about him all day, season and practice and all. He gives us a chance to win every single night, and that's all you can ask for from your goaltender.
Before I come back to you on the goal, you want to chat about the pick goal? Quick right round the table. There were 2 penalty shouts maybe. That one was was it the first period when on a big hook on Goodwin, and then down the other end there was another shot where I know Jordan Boucher was giving a Dixie to the referee to say it
was on hooky.
It was on hooky. It was, yep. The says you said no on the commentary. You weren't, and I think Dicko was the same, saying that once if you get the shot away at some sort, then that goes against you.
Is that the me or Joel?
Do you says to start?
Yeah, I mean, again, the hooky one. Sorry, the Goody one. First of all, again, he gets the shot. And it was a decent. He gets a shot on target. That's the big thing about it. If it's not a shot on target, then I think there's a better chance of getting the penalty shot. However, I think we were 2-0 up at that point, and maybe get refs look at the game a wee bit differently than what they would do if it's a 0-0 or whatever it is. But again, yes, you're disappointed not to get the penalty shot. I know Goody was for sure. I spoke to him afterwards, and he wasn't happy about it. But it's all about the save from CJ Mott, and that for me, I thought it was absolutely sensational. But the one at the other end, Same thing. And Hookie disagrees with it because I had a chat with him about this. He thinks he had control of the puck coming across the blue line and going into the zone. I don't think he did. I thought that he tried to get in front of him, and again, he got the shot off. But for me, if it was any of the two of them, I think the Goody one was a better chance of getting the penalty shot. But the second one, I didn't think so at the time, and I still don't think so.
Joe?
Yeah, I think this one comes down to the rule book, really, doesn't it? You know, there was a bit of confusion in the arena. I even had a chat with Bush after post game, and even he was unsure of the status of those, especially the kind of the Goody one. And it seems to come down to whether or not they actually got the shot away. Since then, I've had a few kind of DMs and chats with other people who were at the game, and they've been firing kind of video clips back and forward of other penalties that were similar that ended up being a penalty shot. So my honest answer is I don't know by the book, what constitutes or how much of it is open for interpretation. Because to me, if the chance on goal is inhibited, even if you do get a shot away that maybe wouldn't have been the finish that you would have gone for had you not been inhibited, then it would still be a penalty shot to me. But I guess I'm not the person to ask. I'm not the book smart one in this room.
David.
That's actually saying I am
the book smart one in this room.
Look, nearly every call that any referee makes is going to be open to interpretation. So, in terms of those, both of them given in similar circumstances. We've obviously seen both of them wiped out in similar circumstances. To me, there usually needs to be a little bit of error between player, forward, and defenseman, whether it be a hook / whatever, to take him down, to stop him. Getting the shot away isn't necessarily anything to do with it, but it has to be a clear breakaway, if you like, and for it to be a breakaway, player can't be able to get round the side of a player. He has to be taking him down from behind. If you like, if he's coming in from the side at all, you're not getting the penalty shot. You're just getting the 2-minute minor. So I've seen them given, I've seen them not given. So I'm not too bent out of shape about either of them.
Yeah, we still won.
The 5-minute penalty for Borden then up for interpretation, Davy?
I think
in the last minute of the game.
I think the referee's got it wrong in terms of calling a 5-minute major. I think at best, or at worst, whatever way you want to look at it, I actually think Kevin Rain does all he can. I think it was Luke's Dopp's video last week talks about the player has to hit the core. And if you look at the video, Kevin Rain does everything he can to get on terms with the player and hits him here. Doesn't hit him in the numbers. You can clearly see Rayner's red sleeve through, so the Blaze's arms here, Rayner's sleeves through, and he's hitting the core. Borden, maybe because of the distance from the board, bigger body, smaller body, he's projected him into the boards, but that's it. 2-minute minor for Borden, absolute maximum for me.
Any disagreement from you two gents?
No way. Definitely bigger, stronger, better positioning as well. Marsh I think it was Marsh, wasn't it? I think it was Marsh. He put himself in a vulnerable position. But same thing, any coach would be giving him a rollick, and if he doesn't finish that hit, and that's one thing that Davy's talked on when he's doing his stats for everybody. It's all about the boys finishing their hits, and Hookie and Rayner have got a real competition going on here. Davy, I'll give you more information about the numbers, but it's they're even in the locker room when they've got that up on the wall about the hit parade. They're Hookie. I think Hookie is just in front. I haven't looked at this week's stats yet. Oh, well, there you go. David,
level.
Okay.
Level. Rain ahead in alphabetical order.
All right, well, let's go back to you, Davey.
Rain ahead of Hook.
Let's let's have a look at this JJ Pickenich goal. I know you want to have a quick chat about it. It's really one for the for the ones on YouTube. You'll get a lot out of this, but let's run it here, and you take us through it.
Yeah, we're going to do our Jimmy Carragher, Gary Neville here from Sky Sports. To do a bit of big screen, but this whole play starts, obviously, like every play starts from the face-off, and you can see Scott Conway coming across in front of Besco here, and he's already sort of scanning the ice and identifying where the Blaze players are. And here he's identified the Blaze players are crashed this side, eyes on Pickenich, and the two of them are. Call it telepathy, call it chemistry, whatever. They're all obviously, this is a set play. They have to be working this. You practice these things, you practice all the time, and you're on the same wavelength as each other. And the whole time this setup has happened, Conway never takes his eyes off Pick. And whenever it rolls on here, which hopefully will soon, There you go. And as if by magic.
Clutch.
And when as soon as Vitas drops the biscuit here, picks away to the races, and I mean, as soon as puck is out of his hand, it's game on. You can move. And I've watched it from the wide angle. Pick does not go until that puck's dropped. So it's I don't know. I think there was a bit of shouting from Danny Stewart or whatever, but he's gone. He's away to the races here, and he identifies at this point, I've got space to go into. These D-men, this number 20 here, whoever that is dead. And this is my favorite bit here. He's identified at this point, okay, the D-man is taking the left-hand side of the net, and he's got two places he can shoot here. He probably can't go 5-hole. We've identified this as Mott's weakness. This is up in the locker room for the boys. And when you're going down, even if that for one split second goes into your head, bang, he's put it where the weak spot is as far as we have ascertained. Goal. So, that's practice, that's statistics, that's analysis, all come together to create a goal, put us 2-0 up and put us in the box seat the game. So big nod to Stevie Thompson, who does the goalie stats.
Let's go, Davy. Let's go. We're so legitimate tonight.
Absolutely superb bit of analysis. And Simon, you're down training very, very regularly and seeing the guys and seeing some of the plays that they work on, and you can see that a lot of effort's being put into these set plays.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think Adam lets them roll with it and do their own thing. And I mean, they do practice it. They do. They have conversations about this before games. Look, if this happens, we're going to do this, and it's not just Cons and Peck. There's other guys there who have got other ideas on what way to to go about it and what way to set plays up. I thought the play was absolutely brilliant. Again, when you're looking at the far winger, I can't remember who the far winger was, but even as you're at that stage, you're 1-0 down, and he's on his heels. It's like a goalkeeper sitting on his line. If he's standing still instead of on his toes, he's basically getting beat before the ball comes into the box. When that player's standing there, you watch him standing with a stick. He's literally on his heels. He's got to be on his toes or ready to go forward or ready to go to the side to block Goody going out. He does neither. None. He's too busy looking around and going, where should I go next? And as soon as Davy says, as soon as that puck's out of his hand, Goody and Pick are gone. And the ice stats number 20, Davy, he's playing catch up. And the guy, I think it was David Clements, there was the right D, he's getting nowhere near him. And the wheels are moving from Pick, flying down the right hand side. And it's been a brilliant finish. And as Davy says, I have conversations with Davy every week about this. And, he always, not always, but he says sometimes, if I'm doing too much here and we're going into too much detail, I would like Adam and Jeff to let us know. But they're definitely not. The guys that put the effort, and it's not just Davy. Yes, Davy with regards to the goalies, Davy, but it's Keenan and Phil as well. And Davy, they're putting all the effort and time into putting just that 0.1% chance of getting a bit of information in their player's head when he's going down on net to have where to basically take the shot. And it definitely is being paid attention for from the boys in the locker room. And everything that Adam goes through, it's the same as Adam's very analytical now. Again, I talked about him a couple of weeks ago sitting on the ferry to the Glasgow game. And, we're on the ferry for 2.5 hours and he's got his laptop out and he's doing work, literally getting notes ready for the game that night. And then when we're on the coach for 2 hours to get to Glasgow, he's doing exactly the same thing. So it's all about the preparation. And as I say, a big pat in the back to the whole four of the stats guys. It's what they do is absolutely superb. And he pointed out to me earlier on, he says, do you think it'd be okay if I ask Adam and Jeff about this? Do you think it should go on? I said, no, I didn't, because I don't want everybody else knowing how good these guys actually are and how much information to put into it. And the big thing about this is it's 4 volunteers.
Yep.
It's 4 guys giving up all their time. And we talked about the volunteers. Glover put a post on about the volunteers last week about how important they are to the sports clubs. I literally followed that up. And it's not just ice hockey. It's about Joel will tell you about the guys down in Larne. It's about guys going to rugby matches, how important volunteers are. And they might not think that they play a part in the success of the club, but believe you me, they genuinely do. Mm-hmm. And the 4 guys putting that information together for Adam and the boys, it's absolutely crucial.
Look, thanks. That's lovely words. But back to the goal. And the one thing that I would analyze from the Saturday night and the Sunday night, 70% for Scott Conway in the circle on Saturday night, 79% on Sunday. there's an expectation when that play starts, when Scott Conway is putting a stick in there and he's looking to pick, there's an expectation that 4 times out of 5 you're going to win this face-off. Let's make this play. So that doesn't work with a lot of other players because they're not so good in the face-off circle. Not so good. They're not statistically as good. 4 times out of 5 that play is coming off. So let's go for it. So you give credit to stats guys, fair enough, but it's about execution more than analysis is only good if you execute at the right times, and they execute it in big times. And as far as the little goalie chart that we put together, if that's just a picture in Pick's mind when he's breaking the blue line and he's 1-on-none, and those top sportsmen, time slows down for them when they're going in there. They've got so much more time. That happens in 1.5 seconds from the red line to blue line. But for him, that'll have slowed down, and he will have time to ascertain, right, where's free? That side isn't, because the D-man's getting across probably to block the lane. So I've got this side of the net. Where's he weakest? He's, has he got that picture in his head? That's where he's weakest. That's where he shot it. Could be a coincidence. Maybe not. I like to think it's not a coincidence, but, great.
The 3-0 win for your Belfast Giants. 9 goals scored, 1 goal conceded, and 4 points in the bag. You can get all the highlights, of course, from our good friends at Belfast Giants TV on the Belfast Giants YouTube channel. Now, we're going to be speaking with Tyler Beskorowany pretty shortly, but before we do that, it's his pop down, stood outside a very blustery SSE arena to chat with some of the boys after training.
So Longer, cutting much hair this week?
Yeah, I'm doing a hooky, JJ.
Again?
Yeah, well, hooky's got tight cuts. It needs to be done once a week at least. And then we've got a couple of fans booked in as well, so yeah.
Good lad. And that's in between a couple of really important hockey games. You got the 4 points against the Coventry Blaze the weekend. Again, you're being adaptable, playing forward and defence. What's your preferred position at the moment?
I after the Saturday game, I do still prefer being a forward. I mean, I can still be a bit of a rat when you're up front, but yeah, I don't mind being back there helping out if need be, but yeah, I still prefer being a forward.
You still got to look over your shoulder, get into the corners when you're playing D, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, it didn't help. I was a little bit of a rat on the Saturday. I played D on Sunday, and I'm like, oh no, people are going to try and rub me in the corners now, but no, it's fine.
Perfect. This weekend, Cardiff, it always seems a competitive battle against the Devils, but I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But 2 big performances needed. Start with the first one on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Down the line anyway. So, I mean, this weekend's massive regarding the league. I think 4 points is going to be huge. And I think the boys are going to come out get 4 points.
It's a really competitive league this year, especially for the top 3 yourselves, Cardiff and Sheffield, and everybody keeps winning. It's these head-to-heads that are going to be vitally important.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we can't really look at what Cardiff and Sheffield will do, and if they keep winning, we have to look after ourselves and keep winning ourselves, and that's all we can worry about.
Thank you, Kieran.
You're most welcome.
This Hook on Tuesday morning after a team workout and a 4-point weekend. We had another successful outing against the Coventry Blaze, and Saturday's game and Sunday's game were 2 completely different opponents basically, and Saturday was pretty easy to play against, a really solid performance, but the Blaze definitely came out different attitude on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think that's expected after Saturday. They wanted to come out and prove a point. I think they did. I think we had a meeting just there, and I think Keefe as well. That wasn't our best game Sunday, but to not have our best game and still come out with the 4 points at the end of the weekend is a good weekend.
As I say, Danny Stewart wasn't happy with our performance on Saturday, and after the after game interview, he started to let them know about it.
Yeah. I didn't actually hear it, so I can imagine after Saturday he wasn't happy, and then Sunday, like you said, they were a different team and they were a lot better.
Cardiff this weekend, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a huge weekend, huge for the league standings. I think it's the last 2 times we play against Cardiff as well, so hopefully get to 500 against those and keep moving forward.
Cheers, Ricky. JJ, another couple of goals for yourself over the weekend, but the most important thing is the 4 points for the team and picking up those 2 victories against Coventry Blaze.
Yeah, it's huge. The league's obviously getting a little bit tighter, so We have another big weekend versus Cardiff here, and it's going to be really important points.
The Saturday performance with a 6-1 victory over the Blaze was some really good goals. A big performance from Mark Cooper picking up a hat-trick, but leading into Sunday, it was a little bit tighter. Obviously, the Blaze come out with a different attitude, and after getting a bit of a rollicking from their coach on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I thought we kind of came out a little bit slow on Sunday as well, so definitely things we'll look over, and not really be able to afford that many mistakes with Cardiff, so looking to clean it up.
For anybody watching on YouTube, the camera is being held by me. It's not a standstill camera. The wind's blowing pretty hard here in Belfast. It does look tropical, but it's not. The Cardiff Devils this weekend. We've had some real battles against them this year so far. Not some, even just 2 weeks ago, we beat them here 1-0, and then went back to Cardiff the following weekend, and they come out on top. But it's 2 big games and 2 big performances needed. Yeah,
for sure. And I think we've all the games we played versus them, the home ice has been defended, so we have 2 of them here at home, and we're definitely looking to defend our ice.
Top man, JJ, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a bit blowy out there.
It was puffed out off that, mate.
a blustery SSE, but thanks very much to Longer Hookie.
Clutch performance says well done.
It is what it is.
I was going to say I got blown away, but who's going to believe that? I don't think that's going to happen.
Right, let's move on, gents, to the fan agenda brought to you by our good friends at Belfast Giants TV. And we're joined this week by a man who got another shutout at the weekend, which downgraded Danielle Neal's birthday present this year by another £10. It's please welcome Tyler Beskorowany. How are you doing, mate? Turn your phone sideways.
Sorry, Joel.
I can't even look at him.
It's not Joel. You have to apologize.
Hello, my friend.
It's Danielle.
and it's not even Joel. There's another. I think there's another 2 people on for a tenner as well. So it's
listen.
Every shot's 30 quid. It's great.
I'm a Larn man, right? I'm tight. I did my homework whenever this came up. I was like, right, let's look back at the championship season. How many goose eggs did Besco get that whole season? And it was 8. It was 8 the entire season. We're sitting here mid-January and you're already on 7. Come on, man. I've got a cat to feed. You're killing me.
Halfway through the season. Caruth is right there. I got to keep going here.
Keep it up, mate. I'm obviously joking.
What was your assessment of the weekend then, Besco?
I thought it was a great weekend. I think we dominated Saturday. Did we play Friday, Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday.
Anyway, yeah, the first game we played Coventry, I thought we dominated them. I think we took their will away early, and then obviously they came back with a little bit of revenge on Sunday, and showed that they were the team that we thought they were on Saturday. And so, we may have let off the gas a little bit and gave them an opportunity to stay in the game a little too long, and it was a little bit of a tighter game than we wanted it to be.
A bit of an iffy road swing last weekend. Obviously, the guys trying to get back into the swing of things, and it definitely did that, especially with that 6-1 win on Saturday.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we exploded there. It's we lacking a bit of scoring lately, and so I think that 6-1 game really gave the guys a bit of confidence, and being able to put the puck in the net 6 times definitely helps.
We've got obviously Cardiff coming up this weekend, Besco, and the 4 games we've had them so far have been Besco v Caruth. There's been nothing between the goaltenders. Man up Caruth, I think, is the man of the match in the 4 games, and I've been at the 3 games in Cardiff, and I think I said last week in the show, 7 of the 9 periods we've probably, carried the game and probably deserved a lot more. How important is it this weekend to sort of split the season with the Devils?
Yeah, it's very important. I think looking ahead of the season at the beginning of the year, our goal is to split these series against the Cardiffs and Sheffields, if not go a game above 500, and so for us to be able to do that, obviously we have to split this weekend, and it's not going to be an easy task by any means. Every game so far has been a close one, and they probably feel like they got robbed a little bit the last time they were here, and so they're going to come guns blazing.
Hi. Sorry, says hi. When you look back at the 3 games we've played in Cardiff, a bounce here or there, they can feel a bit aggrieved about not coming away with something from Belfast, but surely we should feel equally aggrieved. Probably the first two games more so than last weekend or the weekend before last.
Yeah, I feel like we deserved the 2 wins the first 2 games that we played there. We outplayed them. I felt like we dominated them for 55 minutes of both of those games, and so to come out with no points in Cardiff is tough. But that's just kind of the way it works, and they probably feel the same way about coming to us, and so we have to make sure that we really close the door on them and not give them a chance to feel like they deserve the 2 points and really close it off.
Besco, how much did the backside of that guy in front of you when that goal was disallowed actually make contact?
It did. No, you know what? It's a tough call. I talked to Daltz afterwards as well, and he kind of said, I got in shit for that one from the league, this and that. But
we'll bleep that out, mate. That's okay.
Now we won't.
But no, that's Dalton though. So I mean, it's not me. That's not coming from me. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's a proxy.
It's a quote. It's a quote.
That's right. That's right. But no, it's one of those plays where I've had more contact than that, and there's been goals that have been allowed, and I've had less contact and goals have been disallowed, and so it's definitely a tough place to be in, a tough call to make as a ref, and I'm glad I'm not the one who has to make it, but if the puck hadn't gone in through my arm on the blocker side where he had made contact with pulling my stick across along with my arm, I probably wouldn't have made as big of a deal of it, but just the fact that that's where the puck went in, I felt like I didn't have a chance to make that save, and I also felt like I was in the crease, and I wasn't out of the crease at all.
I just want to touch on your assistant coach role, and how you finding it. Obviously, combining that with your childminding duties, with your goaltending duties, and everything else that you're doing as well. I mean, there's a lot to take on, and I know that Adam would give you a wee bit of responsibility in a practice there not so long ago as well.
Yeah, I've I kind of have given my say on stuff with practice and what I see in games and stuff, and he's starting to give me a little more responsibility now. We've chatted, and I've told him that this is something that I'm going to consider in the future, and so he's starting to give me a little bit more responsibilities. For example, I'm doing face-offs this weekend with Cardiff, and so cutting video on that, and just to get a feel for it, and be able to if I ever do decide to go into coaching, be confident that I can step into a role like that and know what I'm doing at that time, right? So it has been a little slow to begin the year. Obviously stopping the puck is my primary job, right? And so I would probably say that I got off to a slow start and kind of worked my way up around November, December a little better, and so he gave me the time to really get into a groove, and now I think that I'm rolling a little more here. He's more comfortable giving me a bit more responsibility.
If anybody has had the privilege of standing beside Besco, you may notice that he's a big, tall boy. Probably the tallest goalie that I've met, definitely in the Elite League, or close to it anyway. Throughout your career, Besco, have you seen that as an advantage? Obviously, you've got that body in terms of shutting off areas in the goal, but also is it a disadvantage in that you obviously got to work harder in terms of getting up and getting down and leg movement and whatever else, just because those things are longer than most goalies in the league? Like, how do you view that? And as a sort of side question to that, what does the sort of mobility regimen of a goaltender look like? You must have to do so much work in order to keep all of those joints flexible and healthy.
Yeah, a lot of stretching. Obviously, I'll start with the second part, but yeah, a lot of stretching. Obviously the hips and knees and joints and whatnot take a bit of a beating, and so you got to do the little things and really taking care of the body. Like I take glucosamine pills, just to take care of the joints and stuff. And so
don't start with MC.
Me too.
but no, I've actually found that there might be a science to it or not, but I feel like there's a happy medium in goaltending where there is such thing as being too tall. creates more holes in the body when pucks are coming. And you know, I feel like I'm borderline too tall to be a goaltender. Obviously, you know, it helps getting hit by pucks a little more and whatnot. But no, I do find that around that, you know, 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" range is when I see goalies of that stature, that size, I find that there aren't as many pucks going through them, or they might not be able to reach as far to make saves as I could with my long legs or long arms. But you know, the shots that might go through me might not go through someone else just because of, you know, there's less holes.
The mother-in-law came to stay for Christmas and got stuck. How was that?
She did.
Well,
Ooh.
I wouldn't consider getting stuck. You know, she was here with me. She was here with the grandson. Like, you getting stuck. Where else would you rather be?
She also took in Lauren Glentoran at the Oval, which was a real education for her.
Yeah, I don't think she was ready for that. By any means.
Yeah,
neither was I, to be fair.
Came over to Manchester. I had the pleasure of standing next to her during the game in Manchester, and that was a good laugh. It was good to see her. Good to have her back over. I'm gonna throw a few out the Twitter. Alan Brett asking, do you think if it hadn't been for COVID, you would have remained at home rather than come back into the game, come over here?
Probably not. Probably the opposite, if anything. I probably would have gone back to play hockey last year as opposed to shut her down for a couple of months and, you know, become a car salesman.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
Was there a real disruption there?
Yeah, I feel like there would have been a little more jobs, a little more comfortability leaving again and coming overseas or whatever it may have been. But yeah, no, it's probably the opposite, if anything.
Mick Davy, does the tandem between you and Wiss have you guys more competitive as to who's going to get the ice time?
Not necessarily. I think we push each other. You know, Wiss has been playing pro hockey long enough now where, you know, he helps me out as much as I try to help him out, I think, right? So it's a little different not having a goalie coach here and stuff. And so we kind of try to help each other along with Dicko. I mean, we try to help him out as much as we can, you know, where we can, but sometimes Dicko doesn't let too many people in, so it's a little tougher. But no, the relationship between me and Wiss is great. As far as ice time, I mean, it's kind of out of our control. It's, you know, it's Keefer's call, and so, but I think he sees he obviously sees it and whatnot, and you know, talks to us and tough when a guy's on a roll, I guess, right?
Paddy, can I jump in there just to come back on the Dicko? We talked about Dicko a little bit earlier in the show there about you know, Coop scored a hat trick last weekend and a little bit of an assist at Dicko for staying on the ice extra time with him to let him fire shots at him. And you can't talk about Dicko, and nobody can talk about Dicko without the biggest smile coming across their face. And you know, 11 plus years at the club now, maybe 30, 40 games. But that guy is as much a servant as anyone that has those banners hung on the bridge.
Absolutely. He's a huge key to this team, whether it's staying on the ice late with guys. I think today he hopped on the ice with Kel, and I think that was it. So
there's only two of them.
Yeah, he noticed, but he was doing his workout, and he asked if anybody was going on the ice, and I don't think he was ready to go out. And then Kel said he was going on, so he said, "Okay, I'm ready to go." So he threw on the gear and went out. But you know, I think that's just the type of guy he is. He just loves getting hit by pucks and getting mad at himself, I think. So it's no, he's a great guy to have, especially in the room. You know, a great glue guy. If ever you're looking to have a little fun, you know, you can always go to Dicko. So.
Besco, I want to touch on Austin, and you're obviously the way things are going as a dad and playing hockey now. And I know obviously you've got him here, and you love spending the time with him. And it's, you know what, I'm sure Paddy and Davy, with the girls that they have, you know, they would like to spend more. Well, Davy's there all day long, and Paddy's out working all day long. But it's, I don't want to say you don't do anything, Davy, but
Spend all day
what's it
doing
like
stats. Says.
What's it like being a hockey playing dad, and obviously having them around for because again you've been away, playing overseas when Sarah hasn't been with you, and that must be tough for you as well.
It's definitely different. It's a different feel to the season and to the hockey. The game itself. Just finishing up and realizing that there are bigger things in life than hockey. Obviously, I'm not saying that hockey is not big. It's a massive part of my life, but you win or lose, you're always able to come home and play with my son and him having a big smile on his face and not realizing what's going on in the world, right? So I think it opens up the my perspective on, I guess, life a little more and realizing that there are bigger things in life.
And is he going to be a player or is he going to be a goalie? Sorry.
I don't know. You know what?
I've seen him hitting those wee golf balls about in the house, I think he's going to be more of a player.
He's definitely going to be a golfer, but he's not a fan of the mask, believe it or not. Not yet. Every time, I think he came down to the boards there during warm-ups last game, and I went to say hi to him, and he was not a fan. So, I don't know. I guess probably a player right now if I were to a betting man, which I am. So, I am going to go ahead and say he's going to be a player.
And just to finish up, when I was growing picking Jasmine up one night after you guys were, when Lynn was over as well, when Austin was hitting with the golf balls about, are you trying to get him to become a righty or a lefty?
Definitely a righty. I think it's that's a stat that I think it's easier to make it as a righty, but right now it's not looking good. I think he's going to be a lefty.
I think, boys, it's time to address the elephant on Twitter this season. I don't know if you've noticed, but Aaron, let's call him Aaron K, formerly of this parish, and our good friend Jacko Gaz as well, have taken to testing the hockey gods pretty much every game night. Aaron's question is, does someone saying shutout immediately cause you to concede a goal, especially if it's Jacko? Where do you stand on hockey superstitions, Besko? Where do you stand on, I can't bring myself to say the S word on a game day. Is it something that you sort of grew up with and just adopt, or where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm superstitious. I'm more a little stitious.
Good line.
That kind of stuff doesn't really bother me. I know people joke around about it, but I may have thought about it a little more. But there was actually a game when I was in the East Coast my first year. I was playing against an old teammate, and I was skating by the bench. I had a shutout going at the time, and I was skating by the bench, and he just kept yelling, "Shutout, shutout, shutout, shutout." I was just skating back to the net, and so I ended up getting a shutout that game. And ever since then, I kind of stopped believing in the not saying the shutout word on a game day.
Which means Aaron and Jacko are now green light for the rest of the season, and everybody's
green light. Have at her.
Tortured on Twitter. As a sort of a semi follow up to that, it's something that I touched on in a previous show recently. Just the manner in which you play the game. You're obviously someone who works extremely hard, and for my money, the best goalie in the league. But the thing that sets you apart is just how calm, how casual, how much you seem to actually enjoy yourself out there. You would see you the odd time kind of singing, whistling, talking to the boys, shouting back to the bench, whatever. Is that a really important part of your game? Just always playing nice and loose and making sure that you enjoy the game? And do you ever get wound up? I
do get wound up. I couldn't tell you at what. It just kind of happens, but I you know what, I enjoy the game. I enjoy having fun, and I think the guys in the room and on the bench, they really feel that from me. They feel my calm demeanor as well, and so I think that just helps in the end. So when you have someone who's wound up and who's losing their temper and who's yelling at his teammates and stuff, I don't think you get anywhere with that. I think you just cause more animosity in the room. And so I think just being cool, calm, and collected and just having fun with it, I think it gives the rest of the team a little bit more of a calming demeanor.
something that Adam Keefe actually touched on. Oh, there's your babysitter, look. For those watching on YouTube, hi Jazz. Something that Adam touched on recently as well, just in terms of kind of his development as a coach and how he's learned that keeping that cool head on the bench means that it disseminates through the bench and through the boys as well. So it's probably the same sort of ethos. As we await Paddy's return, he's off experiencing the technical glitch. I'll grab a couple more off Twitter if you don't mind, gents. Tommy Brown, do you have a favorite Timbit? Oh, it's a great question. Now we're getting to the real stuff.
Favorite Timbit? Oof.
Commit here now. Don't sit on the fence.
You know what? I don't know if they have them here, but the little honey cruller ones are really good. No, don't have them.
Do you remember our visit to Tim Hortons at Christmas, Simon, where the boy nearly got pulled through the window?
He did nearly get pulled through the window. He was an ignorant prick.
Paddy, it went south. You went away and it went south.
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking, Joel. I had to talk says out to putting this guy out through the drive-through window and let's just go to Starbucks, mate. Let's just drive on, mate. Drive on.
Davy, back me up here. He was an ignorant boy.
The guy was take the stuff for free and says, I wouldn't even take it off you for free. You're lucky you're not out through that window yet.
Wouldn't take your cash or what?
No, he was going to take a cash. He took the order, but then he says he didn't have something. And
your milky hot chocolate.
Whatever it was. And I wasn't happy, of course. It's Christmas, it was cold. The less said about that, the better.
Thanks to Tim Hortons for their support all season long. And one more from Twitter. One more from Twitter before we hand back to Paddy. Normally, it's one of the real cliche questions. What do you like about Belfast? What's your favorite thing about the city? Peter McKenzie says, one thing you would change about living in Belfast, and we're not going to get offended. Feel free.
Don't say the weather.
It's so easy. It's so easy. All right, you take the easy road.
Okay, I'll take it then.
Paddy, welcome back.
Thank you. Now, what we normally do at this point was to say thank you, Tyler, and we let you go. But we're going to put you through the same rigmarole we did to Tyler Soy just about a month ago. And we're going to bring it to the Player of the Month nominations brought to you by our good friends at Phonacab. And this month we put it out to you to give us your nominations of who you think should be Player of the Month. And these are the players who you have nominated to put up to the public vote. Ben Lake, number 9 for your Belfast Giants. Number 23, Griffin Reinhardt. Number 26, Mark Cooper. Guess who the next one is? Guess. Number 34, Tyler Beskorowany. I'll start with you, David. Who's your choice?
Paddy, this is an incredibly. I'm just doing a wee sum here too. Divided into 2, 4, 10.
Live stats are happening.
95.67. So I'll just yes. So yes, I'll throw a few stats at them all because analytics is fabulous in hockey. Ben Lake 8 + 13, 2-game winning goals, +14 over the month, an exceptional month by anybody's standards. Coops 5 + 12, 17 points, +8 again defensively. He really shined. Griffin Reinhardt 9, 1 + 8, +13 on the back end, and then you come on the Besco, obviously 254 shots against him, saved 243. Exceptional, 95.67 across a month.
All right.
Couple of shutouts, just like you could literally put those 4 names in a hat and pull one out, and every single one of them would be a worthy recipient of a Player of the Month award. It's a really tough call. Don't know, Paddy. I'm going to have to think about it.
He didn't answer.
I was going to leave it to you.
He didn't answer his question.
Yeah. Okay,
he's right. He's right.
Just say Tyler Bescaroani and we'll move on to says.
I've give you the numbers. I'll come back at the end with my campaign managers.
No, yes, you answer your question.
Who's my Player of the Month?
He's about to pull you out through that window.
It's one of those says.
Get off the fence.
Well, Tyler Beskorowany, forwards, goalies win championships. Forwards decide by how much, So
the great thing about this, David, is the quiet of the polling booth. You can say whatever you want, but whatever you click is what you click.
Well, look, I've got a 100% record, Simon. You still owe me a bagel from last month, so
you'll get your bagel. I'll hit you in the back of the head with anything where your lips self down.
Simon Kitchen, who are you voting for?
Griffin Reinhardt.
Oh,
I think he's been absolutely brilliant this month. Was it 1 and 9, Davy, you said?
1+8, but +13 as well, so.
Biggest part of that, 4 minutes in penalties all season long. And he plays 26, 27 minutes.
Yeah, loads big minutes.
Absolutely ridiculous how good he is. And I think he's been absolutely. Again, Davey touched on Besco's had a brilliant month. Coops has had a brilliant month, and as has Laker. And you know what? There's probably another couple of guys there you could have threw into the pot as well.
Cons has had another.
Cons again, but Griff as a defenseman, I think Griff's been absolutely outstanding.
Joe,
I said it last month, Paddy. If you think I'm going to sit here and say Tyler Beskorowany just because he's on the show, because he's looking me in the whites of my eyes, if you think I'm going to do that, you'd be absolutely correct. Tyler Beskorowany for my player of the month. The problem with Besco is that the standard is so high so consistently. Not to blow smoke on the man, but the standard is always so high that you're always going to be there or thereabouts for a player of the month shout, which actually means that you then may miss out because people go, well, Besco's good anyway. It's not fair.
I asked him that question last month when he said about who was it? Did you tell me who you voted for last month?
No, I didn't.
Besco.
No.
Right. When you asked me the question, what is it? What player of the month? I says AVFTB. And what was your reply?
I have no idea.
I've already got a couple of them.
All right, I'd like to rescind my vote.
You're right.
I will say that Tyler Beskorowany is the only player in the history of this award to win it back to back.
Oh, nice stat.
He's the only one to win it back to back months.
Am I right in saying, Paddy, if he won it this month, he would be the first 4-time winner?
He would be. Yes.
Come on, folks. You know it makes sense. Vote 34.
So rather than voting for yourself, Tyler, which you are more than able to do, who would your vote from the other three go to?
I would have to go Ben Lake. The amount of stuff that he does to get the team going, whether it's getting to the net or going through a body or smart changes or killing penalties, he's really a game changer for us. He has been this entire month, and I think I told that to Keefe this past week actually, how much of a game changer he actually is, and how he's able to get the momentum for us every shift that he's on the ice. And so, I'd have to go Ben Lake on that one.
Come on, Smith.
Well, you want me to move things along?
No. What's your shout? What's your shout, big man? Let's go.
I could go down the Davy route. They're all really good contenders there, and they're all every single one of them worth the award. I'm actually. Sorry, Besco, I'm actually going with Sis on Griffin Reinhardt. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I think the standard that we've seen for all season long has been superb. And I thought this season, he's effortless on the ice. He's absolutely effortless on the ice. That big stride, the control, his positioning is outstanding.
The hockey IQ, he's just above and beyond everybody else, and he just understands the game so well that he doesn't have to work as hard as other people do just because he's always in the right position. He's always, he just doesn't have to work hard.
Yeah, that's really interesting hearing from you, because like for us, for myself, is just the man in the stands. We see what we see, and you can tell that the guys who are just that little bit of a cut above and have that hockey intelligence. But for you guys, you're watching it from between the pipes and you're seeing it. I'm sure the other guys are seeing it. I've found them to be an absolute joy to watch all season long. So for that reason, I'd probably be casting my vote for Griffin Reinhardt. On that, the polling will open on Wednesday morning. It will go on till Friday night, and we will hopefully be passing the award on to one of these four gentlemen after one of the games against the Cardiff Devils this weekend. Tyler, listen, thank you very much. We put you on the spot there, but we quite enjoyed it. Thanks very much as always for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Not a problem. Always a pleasure, Foz.
Cheers, Besco.
Cheers, Besco.
Cheers.
Take care.
Big thanks to Tyler Beskorowany. Always good crack. Always good having top lad to have on. And yes, we say the big thanks to Phonacab for sponsoring the award, the Player of the Month award. You can vote for it all week long, and the polling will close on Friday night, and the award will be given out on Saturday. Time for the news, Mr. Neil.
Yes, I was just going to say it at the end of Besco there. It's one of his classic commentary lines. He used to call Jim Vandermeer a Rolls Royce. And there was a play where Griff was on the back check down towards the East End on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And I could just look like Jim Vandermeer, that hockey IQ, the positional awareness, and just how effortless he looks on his feet. So there is a big shout for Griffin Reinhardt for Player of the Month. He's been unreal.
I know exactly what play you're talking about, because the guy he was skating against was Marsh. His feet were going 10 to a dozen.
Yeah.
Griff made him left corner. Strides through centre ice. Overtook him.
There's another one, and I think it might be Coop's hat trick goal, where he kind of tries to cut out in front of Besco, kind of mishandles the puck, uses his big long reach to go round the other side of the play, and then goes full length of the ice, round behind the net. There's a bit of a breakdown in the play, and it comes scooting across the ice, and he's just in the perfect position to keep the play alive. Feeds in, and Coop's hat trick goal doesn't happen without Griffin Reinhardt. Absolutely, he's a pleasure. We've been very, very blessed with, in the last, let's just even say 10 years, with the likes of Alfie and Vandy and Reinhardt.
For you. Remember, we did the all-time best team, best line, sorry, and it was Jim Vandermeer. Wasn't it Sandy the other one?
Sandy.
Sandrock. Would he get in between them two?
Griffin Reinhardt?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Not currently.
You've only got two spaces. I don't think.
No, you've only got one space. Nobody's taking over Jumbo.
Oh, you think he's the best ever?
I would have went the other way. I think the player who would have been
Sandy's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Sandy's brilliant player.
Let's reprise that starting six maybe in the summer or something.
We'll
because that's
summer.
Let's have a look and see. Right, Jolie.
Sorry, totally sent us down the rabbit hole there, boys. Sorry. This past week in the Premier Sports Elite Ice Hockey League, the Sheffield Steelers needed overtime to defeat the Glasgow Clan last Wednesday, but Justin Hodgman secured the extra point for the Orangemen after just 42 seconds. Evan Bloodoff scored the only goal of the shootout as the Coventry Blaze edged the Guildford Flames 4-3 in an end-to-end battle at the Skydome on Friday night. Meanwhile, the Cardiff Devils celebrated the return of fans to Ice Arena Wales with a 4-0 shutout win over the Flyers. On Saturday, it was Sheffield's turn to defeat the Flyers, unfortunately for the Flyers, winning 3-1 at home. Full capacity crowds also returned in Scotland, but celebrations were somewhat muted as the Glasgow Clan fell 2-1 to Guildford in OT. And in Dundee, one of the results in one of the games of the weekend, the Manchester Storm broke a 7-game losing streak in spectacular fashion, coming back from 3-0 down to take a 4-3 win in the shootout over Omar Pasha and Kay Burley's men. Cardiff's homestand continued with a 5-1 win over the Nottingham Panthers, and your Belfast Giants began their weekend with a 6-1 thrashing of the Coventry Blaze. And on Sunday, the Panthers bounced back at home, downing the Stars by 5-2. The Manchester Storm made it a 4-point weekend with a 6-1 win over the Clan at the Drizzle Dome. Despite going 2 goals up early on and getting all of our hopes up, the Fife Flyers were beaten 6-2 by the Steelers at home. And finally, on Sunday, your Belfast Giants shut out the Blaze 3-0 to clinch the 4-point weekend, with the Blaze playing their third in 3. And Paddy, do you have the standings handy?
I do have the standings handy.
Take a look.
I say handy. Give me a second.
Filibuster.
Yeah, it said go.
Oh, nice. Well played. Nobody will even have noticed that seamless transition.
Yes, perfect.
The Steelers hold on.
You get from Views from the Bridge.
The Steelers hold on the top spot with 47 points from 28 games played. Cardiff sit 2 points behind on 45 with 3 more games played ahead of your Belfast Giants on 42 points with the same games played as Sheffield do keep up. And of course, Belfast and Cardiff meet this weekend in that massive doubleheader at the SSE. So it remains somewhat of a 3-horse race at the moment as Nottingham sit 4th, trailing the Giants by 13 points. With 29 and the same number of games played. Guildford hold on to the middle of the table with 26 from 29 played. The Glasgow Clan and Manchester Storm are tied in 6th and 7th, with Glasgow only having played 25 to the Storm's 29. The Coventry Blaze are holding on to a playoff spot for now with 22 points from 24. They've played the least games so far, which is interesting. You'd have thought it was maybe the Glasgow Clan. And the Dundee Stars also on 22 points, but have played 2 more games. And sadly for the Fife Flyers, they remain rooted to the bottom of the table with only 6 regulation wins this season and 13 points from 28 games played. And if we take a little bit of a look at your news for the week, boys, I'm delighted. They're back. The longest Christmas holiday in Northern Ireland, in the UK, has finally come to an end, and DOPS have returned. On Friday night in Cardiff, Devils defenseman Mark Lewis was assessed a major and game misconduct penalty for an illegal check to the head and has since been fined and suspended for 2 games. We probably don't know the video. Did anybody see this?
No, the video. Yeah, easy call, 2 games.
Yeah, it's a pretty horrible hit. Fife's Michael McNicholas plays the puck off the sidewall in the offensive zone. Lewis drops his left shoulder and makes a hit where the principal point of contact, is the side of the head. There's a real sort of danger there, in terms of concussions, the violence with which the side of the head hit like that can come in on. Dopp said that while McNicholas is eligible to be hit on this play, the onus is on Lewis to do so in a manner that ensures the primary point of contact and force goes through the core. It's important to note that his head contact is avoidable. There's no sudden change of movement or change in head or body position. Dopp also notes that Lewis is a repeat offender, having already been fined and suspended this season, and I took a look. It was a 1 game for boarding back in November. Really, the main story this week broke this morning online, and there has been an awful lot of conversation online on social media about this. Following agreement between all 10 EIHL teams, it's been decided to extend the 21-22 Premier Sports Elite League season by 1 week to allow for all postponed games to be played and completed, meaning the season now ends on the weekend of 16th, 17th of April, with the playoff finals weekend moved to 30th of April to the 1st of May. We'll have a chat about this if you don't mind, boys, but just some detail from the story. Some 30 games were postponed from mid-December onwards, with 9 of the 10 teams entering EIHL's COVID-19 protocol. League chairman Tony Smith said, "The league title and qualifying for the playoffs have always been the most exciting part of our season, so we wanted to ensure that we had the fairest way of possible of deciding those. As 10 teams, we agreed it's only right to ensure that each team plays a full 54-game season in order to determine final league and playoff places. Adding an extra week onto the season ensures we can play all games, give us an extra space to rearrange fixtures without teams needing to play even heavier schedules." So there are 2 outstanding games between Manchester and Sheffield still to be confirmed. Everything else is set. The Belfast Giants themselves have had 4 home games rescheduled, with the addition of a new away date to Dundee on the 11th of February, as you mentioned earlier in the show, making that Scottish doubleheader a Scottish tripleheader. What's the consensus around the Horn boys? Is this a good move?
First of all, I'd like to say that the addition of an additional Dundee game made me howl with laughter.
Yeah,
because
like
the one team
good
that we
enough.
don't need to play an additional game, when people think, "What, another Dundee game?" All in all, I've had discussions with this. I've had a few NIHL people come at me as well, saying, this brings the playoffs in line with their weekend in Coventry, and how blah 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 blah, and how they're annoyed at that. The crossover between the amount of fans that might potentially go to both is pretty small, and the fact that 2-way players will probably play for their NIHL teams in that playoffs rather than playing the Elite League, because we would see. I would expect them to be in Coventry rather than in Nottingham that weekend. From the league's point of view, it's a no-brainer. The contingency is there to do it. They have to do it. I'd much rather do it than have some sort of convoluted percentage decision on a league title or this, that, and the other. Player welfare is a factor here, and trying to push out the games rather than to have we were talking there 4 games in 5 days. If some teams may have to do that more often, if you try to condense or try to force those games into that short period of time. But from a personal point of view, it'll be the first time I'll have not attended playoffs since 2003, and that makes me sad. But I've got other things already planned for that weekend, unfortunately. But that's just the way life is. It's the right decision from the league, who this season, given the flux that has happened, that has happened this season with the fixture list, they've had to deal with a lot. And personally, they come in for a lot of grief. But personally, I think they've dealt with it very, very well. This is a decision that had to be made, and I think they've done it well.
Davy says,
it's almost like Paddy said it. It's pretty much no brainer, because 12 and a half weeks to that May Day weekend, you've just had the table up there. Coventry have 30 games. There's teams that have a Challenge Cup semi-final. One of those teams will have 2 of those teams will have a final to play. Playoff quarterfinal weekend, and then 2 games in the weekend. Teams 30 to 35 games still to play for some teams in 12 weeks is still some amount of hockey to be played. So, player safety, player welfare has to be considered. And if it means knocking it back a weekend, the May Day weekend, well, man, so be it. It does, I suppose, factor in a lot of British players will have a truncated time before they go to GB for the Worlds as well. So that does have to be factored in. But
they get the Monday off, the meet up on the Tuesday.
So no.
No, I mean, first of all, I just want to touch on what something like Paddy said. You know, he's not going to be there for the first time since 2003. There's going to be some happy people about that. The amount of trolling that he does in bunkers is unbelievable. So there's going to be one or two happy fans going, "Happy days! I'm definitely going to the playoffs." However, I think Paddy pointed out very, very clearly, and I absolutely agree with everything he said. So every last point that he brought up, it's all about the player safety and the player welfare. But the league, I think, have made a really strong decision in this, and I know that there's some people who have already paid for flights and people have paid for accommodation, which hopefully will be able to switch around. And you know what? It's a bank holiday weekend, which means the hotels are probably more expensive. But again, I think the league need commending on this. I think they don't get everything right, as Paddy says, but I think they've got. In all fairness, I think they've got the majority of things right this season. I think there's been a big improvement in the way decisions are being made. So, big pat on the back to everybody involved.
Just on some of the comments you've seen on social media and some of the uproar, and I totally understand. Like, I live in Manchester. It's a train or a drive from here. It's the movement of a week. The reason I'm not going is because I have something else that weekend. But the movement of a week would not affect me a great deal. I would just move it out a week. For people coming from Belfast, that is a big deal. There are flights been booked, there are hotels been booked that may or may not be able to change. And if they are able to change them, there is going to be no doubt an increased cost because it is a bank holiday weekend. But some of the people's reaction have been like as if the league have done this on purpose, like to be the fire is ridiculous. The league do not want to do this. This is not what they wanted. They wanted to have it as normal the weekend before, the weekend that was planned. It has to be this weekend for quite obvious reasons, and it is unfortunate for those people who are going to incur. Well, you can incur increased costs if you choose to go. The tickets have not went on sale yet. You could, if the tickets were on sale, I think there's a case to say, well, they shouldn't have sold tickets if it was going to move. The tickets haven't been on sale yet, so your decision is whether you go or you cancel. I think it's whether you move or you cancel, and if it's too expensive for you, that is just unfortunate, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm sure the league are sorry for that. But that's just the way life is at the minute. Things are going to be moving about, and hopefully next season we have a more solid season.
Yeah, I mean, Paddy, you flip that over regarding the expense of the teams as well. I know there's players who have already had when they basically fly in late August, early September. Well, actually, it was a wee bit later this year, but when they fly in the start of September, they already have their return flight booked. So I would say there's probably quite a lot of the teams have already had flights booked for that week to fly back. So they're going to have them. If they can't change that, well, if they can change it, it's going to be another fee on top of that. And it's, as I say, there's all these different things that come into it. But in my opinion, I think the league's made the correct decision. Look forward to being in Nottingham in end of April.
Going to miss me, man, aren't you? Going to miss me.
I will miss you because we always raise a wee glass to everybody. Unfortunately, people are no longer with us. So, but my head might be a little less fuzzy on the Saturday morning or the Sunday morning, which is great.
So it's another AVFTB exclusive. The 21-22 EIHL playoffs are confirmed. Patrick Smith free. Everybody enjoy that. Last thing to mention, Paddy, your Premier Sports TV game of the week is this Saturday as the Nottingham Panthers host the Glasgow Clan at 7 p.m. Nobody here cares because we're playing Cardiff. But all the best with it.
Thanks very much, Joel, for the news. Yes, we are playing Cardiff, and we got those two games, Friday and Saturday, both at 7 p.m., both at the SSE Arena as Cardiff come in for their second and third fixture of the season here in Belfast. You can get yourself down to the SSE Arena on Friday or Saturday at 7 p.m. And if you can't, Mr. Kitchen will be taking you through the games on Giants TV. Obviously, we don't, I'm trying to sort of breeze past this because we don't normally talk about these games now. But these are quite big games, Davy.
They are.
Look at the smile. Look at the smile. He knows what he's at.
We are 1-3 against the Devils this season. We need to make it 3-3. It's as simple as that. Nothing else to say.
Simon, the point was mentioned earlier on about how we knew it is sort of holding your home form.
It's just what he said.
Okay. Joel, do you have anything to add, or I'm just going to read out the fixtures again? We're going to move on to any other business.
I think the boys have made some great points there, Paddy.
Okay, thanks, lads. Thanks, lad. That's again another example of the fantastic professionalism you get from here on a view from the bridge. Those games Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. against the Cardiff Devils, SSE Arena. You should be there, and if you can't be there, like I can't be there, you'll be following with Simon on Giants TV. Any other business, boys?
I have a couple of gents, if you don't mind me jumping in. So it's been a difficult year, as we already know. And one of the things that we haven't been able to organise from the official supporters club is the events. COVID's played havoc with trying to get the players and access to the players. But now we've finally done that. It was announced there about an hour ago that we're going to have our first event. It's adventure golf. It's limited numbers. It's members only. So if you're not a member of the OSC and you want to come along, unfortunately, you can't. So it's going to be sold out. There's no doubt about that at all. And then on the 19th against the Five Flyers, the OSC are sponsoring the game. And we're going to take 70 of our members again to the game to sit in the new Heineken Green Room, which is currently the West Lounge. So, previously the West Lounge. So thanks to Heineken for all their support to put that together. It looks absolutely brilliant. And they're going to be in there for the game on the 19th. And the last thing, for anybody that wanted to bid on the Pride shirts from the warm-up that we wore on the Pride night, you can do so on eBay. So you can go to eBay now. I'm sure the link, we've probably just check out the Giants Twitter or Facebook. The links there somewhere, but I haven't got it to hand, unfortunately. But go on, start your bidding. It's open until Sunday at I think it's about 4:00 on Sunday. So if you want to get yourself a bit of Giants memorabilia, knock yourself out.
JJ's shirt is up to 255 quid off 22 days
already.
What is that? Your bid?
No, it's not my bid. My brother Jarlath sent me a message saying, "Have you seen how much JJ's shirt's on at the minute?" I was like, "No, not."
Some of the prices.
He's not. Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say some of the prices that Giants jersey auctions reach are eye-watering, absolutely. And you know what? If you have the cash and you can spend it on that, it's going to a great cause. Obviously, it's going to a great cause, especially with it being the Pride jersey, and other times it goes to help the club or charities or whatever. But I can never get over some of the prices those jerseys reach.
What you should do is just do what David Majemski does: keep an eye on who gets them, and then offer them a cheaper deal after they've bought it.
Do you know what I've got?
You do,
Davey. Do you know what I've got, Davey? You always come up with these ideas, and I have. Davey, talk. I'm back in a second.
Okay. I'll talk about the Rainer Razor then while the guys are while says his way doing whatever he's doing there. www.justgiving.com/Rainer Razor if you want to throw a few quid in there, or if you want to settle up whatever your current total is. It's up to about 1,500 quid at the minute. I know different people are going to pay different ways. I've seen the gem on the shoulders there. I'm already getting excited.
It's old and it's beautiful, Davey.
It's old and it's beautiful. Its colours, they are fine. Turn it round. Turn it round.
What's the name?
Oh, it's blank.
It's Mark Catlin, 37, all signed. Right. Phil Davey, I'm coming back.
It's fully signed by the whole team. It's the first season shirt by Mark Catlin.
Paddy's got a Cavi shirt. I'm sure he's a way to get it here.
So I'm quite happy to throw that in for whatever we do, whether it's a raffle or you want to do a prize to put it all together to put it into the Rainer Razor for the end of the season for Action Mental Health. Knock yourself out of it. Yeah, it's been down up the stairs. And do you know what else? If he's away, I'll be back in a second.
Right, Joel, let's talk. So the Rainer Razor /Rainer Razor. And if you want to get involved, you just want to throw a few pound in that's great as well. But anything from you, Joel?
I was actually just going to say, I didn't get a chance to say it earlier, but your breakdown was absolutely brilliant. It's something it's something that you can hold on a second, Smith. You left us alone. It's me and Davy's show now.
Yeah.
Just going to say, the casual hockey fan, right? Whenever you start coming to games, you're drawn in by the action and the chaos, and to maybe the untrained eye, it does just seem like sort of players chasing chaos. See, whenever you get the opportunity to break something down like that, not only that the Giants had noticed that Coventry had stacked on that far side, even right down to Pikanich taking off, turning on the Jets as soon as he sees the puck leave Vitas's hands. The fact that who takes that draw?
Scott Conway.
Cons. The fact that Cons is obviously going to win that draw to push it forward because he knows that picks away to the races and that they've got that right flank completely clear. I'm just saying, for any of the casual fan who's getting into it, and maybe you're listening to the show and maybe it's your first couple of seasons or whatever else, and it's a process I'm still very much going through, and that's why I really enjoy these kinds of breakdowns. But scratch the surface of hockey as a sport and the appreciation that you find for it beyond the initial excitement of going to a Giants game, the appreciation you find for just understanding what's happening whenever moments like that happen. It makes it just one of the best games in the world. But that's why I really, really appreciated that earlier. I thought it was great. Patrick Smith.
Oh, he's got a similar one. How did you do that? Oh, it's Wilkie. That's right. It's Wilkie.
Perfect.
Are you giving it up? Or
there's not many of these about.
No.
This is a wooden stick, and I'll throw this in as well, Davy. And this is from I was told it's from the first game that we ever had at the Odyssey against the Irish Scottish Eagles. And I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not sure if it's going to be back to front.
Lee.
Right. Kevin
Real. Left-handed stick, Coho 2265. So we'll get those up for to raise money for the Action Mental Health. Oh, here we go. What have we got now? We Trump. You playing?
I didn't know we were doing show and tell, boys.
We're playing hockey top trumps. I have got here something. We see us for class.
I love how the show just goes to absolute hell at the end now, and I'm really, really here for it. I love it.
I have to thank Aaron Stewart for this because I've got Paxton Schulte's shirt from the opening
night.
Love
orange shirt.
Just to go with it.
Top guy.
Opening night.
The first program.
The first ever program. A ticket stub from the first game.
Oh, that's class. Oh,
So,
Paddy, come on.
Are we going to do this for a couple of minutes?
We're going 2 hours here. We should hit a point in the show where we can tell people it's okay to switch off now because they're just not going to miss anything, and then we can just chat on. Here we go.
Got like loads of programs here. Also, Vipers programs.
Oh man, I was in my room space the other day, and I'm not joking when I say this.
Whole stingrays away.
I've got a program so you couldn't lift the boxes off. 10, 12 years worth of every single home and away program. All right, I'm going.
Belfast Giants versus London Racers, and in the corner, I love it. I love doing this. In the corner, it says,
"Guess who's back?"
Guess who's back, and it's Sean Behrens. Guess who's back? Tell you. And who's that? Who's that fella? Who's that young man?
Oh, is that a young Todd Kelman?
That's a young Todd Kelman. Look at that.
Back from whenever I liked him.
Look at that. But you know what? I'm with Davy in this. I love a bit of nostalgia going. That's why I have all these programs on my bookshelf.
You like this one, Joel?
Sean Skihar.
Let's just let this run. Let's just keep going.
Sean Skihar. Here we go.
Is it Sean Skihar?
This is fantastic for those who listen to the audio podcast, by the way. This is great content.
If you're listening, I recommend going to the podcast. Sorry, going to the video in and around 1 hour 30. That's it. Go to YouTube. 1 hour 30. Is the Stevie Robinson signature or the real one?
No, signed by Jason Taff-Ellery.
Oh, just even more valuable.
Wouldn't let players sign shirts?
What's it?
Everybody.
And this is where it ends. It ends.
Game over.
It ends. First Castlereagh Knights.
You say that.
Knights first program.
You say that.
You're watching A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants.
If you're listening to A View from the Bridge, sorry.
The those on YouTube, I did do the Derek Wilkinson shirt. That's the Derek Wilkinson bobblehead behind me as well. It was from his Charlotte Checkers days.
Descended into absolute anarchy.
Playoffs 2010-11.
How have we got here?
Friendship 4.
Very good.
2015, first Friendship 4. What else have I got to hand? Anything else?
I've just got a billion lanyards. You know the way the lanyard collection just starts getting up? It's just a billion lanyards. That's all I've got to show you. From sport, from football, from hockey.
I have a lanyard somewhere, Joel, signed by Eminem.
Was that from Bangor?
No, from Oxygen.
I remember you driving or something.
2010, 2011. I was working down at Oxygen for event control, and I've got it somewhere in the house. Like,
Look at this.
Jasmine had it at one point, but God knows where she put it. It's lying here somewhere. Right, is there any chance we're getting bored now? Oh, here we go.
Right, I'm back.
I know what that is. David.
Oh, it's the Simon. Is it a Simon Kitchen?
Flip it.
Number 16.
Oh yes, there it is. Boys.
Newcastle Ray Knights.
Hockey.
That's really nice. That's my pride of my collection. That one.
And that is. That's. I don't think there's any trump in that. A Simon Kitchen. Is it signed?
There's a lot of blood on it, but it wasn't
Not
from
mine.
when he was playing hockey. No, it's not yours.
Wasn't my blood, mate.
Of course not.
Okay, I'd go into the story, but neither of us
Paddy.
doesn't like me telling it.
So, any other business, gentlemen?
No.
I'm going to finish off with one more, which is a big shout out to Mick Davy, because he was one we come back with this week, giving blood as part of the Bleed Teal 100. We're going to sort this out and sort of. I know a lot of people gave blood, and we talked a lot about what we're going to do in return, and it's something we are going to organise. It is something you can still get involved in. You get yourself down, giving blood. By 1 pint of blood will help 3 people, and it's a magnificent and easy thing for you to do. Very, very straightforward. Go to your local blood donation; they'll take you through it. It is painless. It is fantastic, and it is something that, especially at these times where we're coming out of a pandemic. Hopefully, touch wood, coming out of a pandemic and trying to get back to some level of normality. It is something that if you have the time, if you have the ability, please, please, please do go and give some blood. Are we all done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
There's no other pieces of nostalgia that people want to get stuck into here, no?
There's loads, but let's just
we'll wrap it up. 2 games this weekend on Friday and Saturday against the Cardiff Devils. 7 p.m. On both days. Get down to the SSE Arena for those 2 games, and if you can't, Mr. Kitchen will take you through it on Giants TV. Big thanks to DeLonger, the Hookie, and the JJ and big thanks to Simon for popping down and getting those interviews. Huge thanks to Tyler Beskorowany for his time and answering questions on the fan agenda. Big thanks to Joel for the news. Big thanks to Davy for the videos and analysis. Player of the month will now be open. Get your votes in for Ben Lake, Mark Cooper, Griffin Reinhardt, or Tyler Beskorowany. It'll be open until Friday, and hopefully we'll be able to give the award out this weekend. At AVFTB on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on all your podcast clients, kingdomofthegiants.com, and everywhere else. Thank you, gentlemen. Good to see you. Good to chat with you. Good to reminisce. And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.
Vote Besco.